Canada's interest in watching the Qatar tournament is low, according to a new poll. As Canada's men's national soccer team prepares to play in the FIFA World Cup for the first time in 36 years. Currently, 63% of 1,005 Canadian Ipsos, polled specifically for Global News on November 11 to 15, said they don't care about the World Cup, which starts on Sunday. Only 34% of respondents said they would pay close attention to the tournament, while 66% of Canadians surveyed said they did not plan to pay much attention to the games. Despite the markedly low interest among Canadians, a global Ipsos poll released on November 10 showed that more than half of adults in 34 countries plan to watch the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Even if we say that interest is relatively low, even if we say that a third of Canadians are watching, we have to bear in mind that than 10 million people who have the potential to watch it, said Senior Vice President Sébastien Dallaire, President at Ipsos Canada. Canada is not the country that watches big football yet. There's some interest, but frankly, that doesn't compare to what we can see in other countries where there are a lot more real fanatics. Ipsos Global News results show that interest in the World Cup is age-dependent. Canadians aged 18 to 34 are more interested in watching the event than their parents or grandparents, and are more likely to say the World Cup is more important to them than the Olympics. But Ipsos said their interest does not mean support for Canada. While 24% of respondents said they would mostly cheer for another country, that percentage jumps to 45% for Canadians aged 18 to 34. Conversely, 76% of those polled disagree that they would cheer for another country. Dallaire said the difference in commitment may be due to the fact that the Canadian men's team has only played in one World Cup, and many Canadians are used to cheering for other countries during the World Cup. 151 Canadian football fans head to Qatar for the World Cup. Canada will face Belgium on November 23 in their first match at the Qatar World Cup, which has been surrounded by controversy since FIFA declared the Arab nation the host 12 years ago. Traditionally played in June and July, the tournament has been taken to the next level to avoid playing in the fierce heat of the Middle East. Qatar faced doubts about how it convinced FIFA to vote for the country. Of the 24 people on FIFA's board of directors who voted for World Cup hosts in 2010, 21 were variously convicted, charged, acquitted or implicated in criminal or ethical proceedings. Allegations of ill treatment of migrant workers who built the World Cup infrastructure have been made for years, and Qatar's record on LGBTQ2 rights has recently been called into question. Relatively speaking, Canadians are less interested than people in many other countries. But globally, not just in Canada, there has been a decline in interest, Dallaire said. So it's clear that all the discussions around the World Cup are generally depressing. But as experience has shown, it sometimes depends on what happens during the event. Once the event starts, it becomes real and people start watching the game, and if Canada is doing well, that can arouse more interest and all the discussion. Sometimes it may leave its place to more excitement. 237 migrant worker rights scrutinized ahead of 2022 FIFA World Cup when Qatar was first chosen as the host country. The country's population was 350,000. It has since grown to 2.6 million due to immigrants working to build the infrastructure needed for the tournament, such as the stadium's Michael Page, Deputy Director of the Middle East and North Africa Division, said some of the allegations of ill treatment of migrant workers included thousands of on-the-job theft of wages and, in some cases, the detention of their passports by their employers. Human Rights Watch in a previous interview with Global News, Qatar's ruling emir described the criticism as an unprecedented campaign, targeting the first Arab nation to host the tournament. Qatar has repeatedly backed out, insisting it has improved protections for migrant workers and claiming the criticism is outdated. Also, given that gay acts are illegal in the conservative Muslim country, several teams and players raise issues regarding the safety of LGBTQ2 fans. View image full screen Doha skyline behind a FIFA World Cup sign on November 17 ahead of the Qatar 2022 World Cup soccer tournament. Giuseppe Cacace, AFP via Qatar promised that LGBTQ2 fans would not be arrested. But HRW said on October 24 that Qatari security forces arbitrarily arrested and harassed LGBTQ2 Qataris. The Arab nation denied these accusations. Ottawa has launched a special travel advice webpage with information on local laws for World Cup fans traveling to Qatar. He also warned Canadians that Qatar has many different laws than those in Canada. Among some of the government's advice, Ottawa tells Canadian fans traveling to Qatar to dress conservatively and be cautious. Canadian Sports Minister Pascal Street-Onge said in a tweet on October 28 that the safety of Canadians participating in the World Cup must be ensured. Saint-Onge told Global News earlier this month that it is joining calls for transparency and robust measures to protect the migrant workers who are building Ottawa's World Cup infrastructure. Late last month, Canada Soccer, the sports governing body in the country, issued a statement saying it supports the continued pursuit of progress in workers' rights and inclusion as Qatar prepares to host the World. Ottawa, which is diplomatically boycotting the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics due to China's poor human rights record, previously told Global News that there are no plans yet for a federal dignitary to attend the World Cup. 041 government diplomats attending 2022 FIFA World Cup must speak up about these abuses. Human Rights Watch when asked about the government's delegation plans on Thursday. Liberal MP Adam van Coevorden told parliamentarians during the question period that Ottawa is focusing on a constructive approach. We recognize that there are reservations about holding FIFA 2022 in Qatar and we focus on a constructive approach because we need to work with our partners in a world full of divisions, he said in French. How do Canadians think the team will perform? Issues aside, Canadians polled by Ipsos for Global News are unsure how far the men's national team will advance in the 32-nation tournament. The team will play 3 matches in the group stage, but only the top 2 teams will qualify for the qualifying rounds. Belgium, the first rival of Canada, is shown by FIFA as the second-best men's national team in the world. Croatia, which Canada plays after Belgium, made the 2018 FIFA World Cup finals and was named the 12th best men's team by the governing body of the football world. Canada's last rival in the group stage, Morocco, is in 22nd place. Canada ranks 41st. 32% of Canadians polled by Ipsos said they were unsure how far Canada would go in the World Cup. 16% believe Canada will not make it out of the group stage, while 21% believe Canada will be eliminated in the round of 16. 15% will see Canadians lose in the quarter-finals, while 7% will miss the men's national team in the World Cup semi-finals. Only 4% of respondents believe Canada will win the FIFA World Cup, while 3% of those polled think they made it to the finals but lost. We find that Canadians can often be a little too optimistic. But this also illustrates the fact that we don't have a lot of experience as a nation taking part in such a global tournament, Dallaire said. It is not impossible for Canadians to be surprised. If that happens, I can assure you that the numbers we measure here will increase significantly over the next few weeks. These are some of the findings of an Ipsos poll conducted on behalf of Global News from November 11 to 15. For this survey, 1,005 Canadians aged 18 and over were interviewed. Quotas and weighting were used to ensure that the sample composition according to census parameters reflects that of the Canadian population. The precision of Ipsos online surveys is measured using a confidence interval. In this case, the survey plus or minus 3.5% score. 19 times out of 20. All Canadians aged 18 plus participated in the survey. The confidence interval will be wider among subsets of the population. All sample surveys and polls may be subject to other sources of error, including but not limited to coverage error and measurement error.